Hey guys, it's Carnivus, another Nerd This video. Today we're going to be unlocking Ember. Based on what I've seen from other peeps who've already completed it, from within the guild, they were able to get through pretty easily through tier 7 as long as they had a really good NITL and a reasonably geared combination of other characters. So I'm still farming on Illyria. I was hoping I wouldn't have to dump as much guild currency into her as but if it is going to be that easy, I think it's worth doing it. As I'm going through and unlocking her here, I will be kind of going over my thoughts since I know I never really actually got to that. So yeah, here we go. These first ones I don't imagine to be very difficult. As you saw, I have a Gear 10 NIDL with not very developed leadership or anything. I'm basically planning on her carrying me. Currently got Sharp's buff working for me. That's at level 5, so that everyone's going to get it. But, I mean, again, we don't even really need to be intentional about this, but let's just go ahead. Anyway, let's go ahead and just take out Drumgar. 45k. When you got crappy stats, the numbers get big. Okay. So Ember, whenever I saw the initial kit for her, I was a little more excited about her AoE second special than I became over time, because it has the ability to clear all buffs on the field. Like, that's pretty bonkers, especially if you can think, like, if you could have that go like right after a Soleus buff in the raid, or even after a bunch of, like, Nightdel's buffs are down and maybe Kyra's Invis is down in Arena or Tower. Like, that's really significant. The problem is it's only a 30% chance. And so that really does a lot to negate how excited I get about it. Because it's just not that much, really, in the end. Let's just go ahead and take out this, and then we'll go for shot. And so for that reason, I wasn't super keen on her. Obviously, you could, if you were willing, right? And that was the main thing. It was just so much effort. She wasn't she had a lot of great potential, but since it was so RNG based, I couldn't get too excited about her, because if you were willing, hey, at least my first time, right, that I stashed that. But even then, against Soleus, she does magic damage, and he resists so much of it. I couldn't really find a place for her right now where I felt like she was really maximized. Right now in Arena, we're in a spot where, for the most part, you gotta run Soleus, you gotta run Nightdel, you're probably running Freezard, and then some combination of pretty much everybody having Tromgar, seeing some little baddies start to come out there as people get her to 7 stars. So it's not like there's not potentially a 5th slot that you could argue, that you could say, hey, it's not a necessary slot. I can fit someone in here. That's true, but hard to justify over someone else like Kyra, who can throw out not only so many buffs on every person, which means that technically, even though it doesn't happen to me too much, whenever I get to I don't even know what I was saying there. Sorry, I got a phone call. I got a little distracted. Basically, oh yeah, sorry, so Kyra, she was team buff on everyone else, which hypothetically means that, like, now there's a 20% chance it's going to be on your tank at all to clear, and probably you have multiple team buffs going out there, and so it's a really probable chance, right, that it's not going to be your tank's taunt that goes. I happen to find that it happens to clear my tank's taunt more frequently than math suggests. That might be everyone for all we know, that's built in somehow to the RNG. But yeah, so I just wasn't crazy excited about Ember to begin with, but it seems like the difficulty event is not as bad, particularly for those of us who weren't in the beta, and we were under level by like 10 levels, 15 levels sometimes trying to clear stuff. Obviously not always we weren't always able to achieve our goal. So let's go ahead, let's pay a little more attention here. I'm not expecting 4 to be a problem. I would think and hope I'll be able to coast through at least unlocking. Let's go ahead and wipe him out. See if we can get Revel down. All right, let's try and start saving. We can't because they're gone. Let's try and get out Renara so it's not too irritating here. Foyran, yeah. So still 0 issues. Haven't had to use a heal. And I have heard. So what I've heard is that tier 7 gets pretty rough. We won't be able to look at that today because I'm still working on getting a 5th tier 7 character. Maybe I forget if I can even go in there with 4 characters. Maybe we could at least see it, but won't be expecting to clear that today. I expect to probably wait until I hit level 75 here in a few more days, whenever I'm able to get my Nightingale to gear 11. Alrighty guys, we're going to take a look right here at my elf team before we go into the tier 5 match. So, I'm probably just going to leave Sengiel in there, but I don't expect them to do much for me. We'll see how this goes. I have Geary Illyria, I have the easy pieces. I hold off on this one just because I guess I had 9 characters that need it, and I currently have 6, so I don't think that's going to be a difference maker piece. But a little bit of ability boosting, appropriate but not exceptional runes. 90L, she's pretty built. She has some of my better runes. 40k survivability, 36k magic damage at almost 30 crit chance. Sharp, only things I really did is I boosted this up a little bit just to get a little chance of a armor decrease to at least give myself a little bit of like RNG hope there. Literally, other than that, I just boosted to get this on first turn. That's it. Gave him a cheap boost there. As you can see, not even like the easy gear at gear 7. So, this is someone who I might, if it's what I need to unlock. So I definitely want to unlock. I'm gonna unlock. It's just a matter of how far I go into that. As you can see at gear 8, you start grabbing crap like Overthrower, which sucks. But to gear 8, he's really not that bad. Has 31k survivability combined, and has 1500. It's I haven't done anything to his mods. He has very like degrade mods, and Sengiel literally has nothing. So we will see if that works. We are definitely starting from square one. It wouldn't be too hard for me to get him to the point where he at least has protection, just as kind of like almost an off tank of sorts, but we will see. If I do bring in Wonder Lula, she's got nothing, so we would need to do something for her before we could use her. Right, so let's go in. Hopefully this doesn't go really terribly bad. It might. There's a lot of times where the power creep jumps up pretty hard once you get to 5 and 7, so we will see. Okay, this doesn't look too bad. So here, I would say to prioritize this team. What's my percent chance on that? I'll hold off on that, but that might be something I try and get on Corcoran later. As you can see, not incredible damage coming out from anyone other than Baby Girl. And we did get some decent from Illyria, just because she's with all elves right now. Got another one out for another turn human. Let's see. I'll go ahead and throw this up, just why wouldn't I? That at least easy, because one of the nice things about regeneration is it's not based on his damage output, and so it's actually like a little more helpful than it would have been if it was just straight healing per level, just because it's not that bad. So we're gonna try and let our buffs stack back up here a little bit, so Mortha doesn't put out too much damage. It's 3-turn cooldown. I guess I'll go ahead and pop this because she's going to have her other special off in just a sec. Obviously, a lot of damage going to be coming from Nightingale here. We'll have the taunt back up, which is good. And I feel like I want to use the... But Nightingale's going to go again for everyone else. I feel like I'm kind of just... Let's see what happens. I would like to use that buff here. I mean, frankly, I'd love to be able to give her the attack damage one too, but I can stall out for a sec on that to try and get Sharp in for his second one. Okay. So it looks like we got nice armor downs on Peeps. We will take it. Almost certainly gonna have it available on first turn, but she'll just clear it. So let's go ahead with a nuke here and see what we can do. Okay, it's not quite enough. Able to finish it. See Senjio coming in big. Coming in big. I'm not even gonna use his crit one because this is easy peasy lemon squeezy. She didn't get rid of the counterattack. That would have been nice. Well, now we're really gonna stall out for a little bit because no one else is really gonna do too much damage. 2 turns, right? Yeah, I definitely at least want to be able to be up for both of her turns. So, hopefully he gets in. Yeah, he's gonna get in before. The reason I'm prioritizing the mages is because of their AoE damage. All of the healing except for their second specials is single target, and as you can see, both their healing isn't very good. But keeping up the buffs has been pretty helpful to really fuel Nightingale here. I'm gonna ability block the Defender Zealot. No, I'm not, because we're gonna have a tank come up anyway. Okay. No one has a debuff they're gonna apply him, I don't think. So we're just gonna go ahead and toss that on here, just because Mar takes a couple turns to get going. Let's go ahead and juice up. Let's go ahead and smack this guy. Cool, we basically got done. Cooldown's off. Get to do that. He's going to have his AoE coming up in a bit here. So I'm actually going to do this. And she's going to get rid of this taunt on his next turn. And we'll take out the mage this way. And now I can go back and still have... Oh, la, 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 la. There we go. All right, so yeah, easy peasy. If you have a Gear 10, well-modded Nightingale, you're going to be fine. We didn't lose a single character, never had to once use Illyria's heal. Be fine. That was easy. All right, we're gonna go for 6. We can get to 6. We might as well go to 6. I'm a little less. It'll really depend on what they throw at us for that. Ah, come on. If you're gonna make somebody dodge, make it be these weak sauce kids. Pop. There it is. All right. I recall fears that little panda fought. Flames in her eyes, not her weapon, never died down. Neither did my hope that we could form an alliance of all 3 races soon enough. All right. So as you can tell, I don't really super read the story too much. It's actually probably decent. I don't know. Any developers that essentially make a Mr. T orc probably are reasonably cool people. I'm gonna save that for right now. We're gonna go in. Recommend a level 70. Well, one of them's level 70. One of them is. This is probably not gonna go well. But just so we know. Lord Kinley. Okay. So yeah, we've definitely jumped up the, it looks like they're Gear 9 level 70, which I'm sure is what it says on the requirements if I look there. Go ahead and throw that up. Obviously, our main priority is going to be... Oh, man, even with the potency down, we didn't get rid of it. Yikes. We've got to smack him right now, or he's going to make all of us his little babies. All right. Keep him up. No! Yeah, like I said, this was not going to... This was not going to go incredibly well. Yeah. That's just... He still got blown up. Hey, can't. No. Oh, he didn't use his AoE. What are you doing, bud? What are you doing? We're just gonna save it. I mean, there's no way we get through. Yeah, it's 90L isn't that OP. Oh, getting one shot by Hera. Holy cow. I mean, he's, as we saw, like barely gear 7. So, yeah, you're gonna need a little more than that if you're gonna go beyond unlocking. I don't know. That might kind of change my mind on whether or not it's worth going for it. Let's go ahead and give a big smackaroo. Who do we want to smack? Smack Mr. Big Shot. Oh, did you have a taunt? Did you have a taunt? You didn't have a taunt. All right. So, didn't work out. I will probably not be pushing to get 7-star. I will show you real quick. This is what I got sent by a guildmate of mine, what he was able to get through on. So, as you can see, our sharps are at the same gear level-ish on level. His Kelrian is higher leveled than mine, might have a couple, like 1 or 2, yeah, a couple more pieces of gear, but that gear isn't really good for his sustainability, which is why I haven't given them to him. His Illyria is 1 gear lower than mine. His Wonderlula is higher, and I'm sure he used her over Sengiel, I would think. And his 9TL is gear 11. So he was able to clear with that. I don't know what you think is kind of like lower of the two, but I think it's fairly easy to say that this isn't even minimum requirements. We didn't lose a single character on that run. We did it on our first run. We got like some okay RNG because Kelrian's AoE, which currently has a 30% chance, right, gave us defense down on everyone, even though we didn't even hit everyone with it. Still didn't hurt to have that. So we got some okay RNG. The main thing was, I think, main things were just having everything maxed on 90L right here. Having this certainly didn't hurt us. I don't think we did get a defense down from Sharp. We might have gotten like 1. And having just Illyria good enough to keep Kelrian going. Kelrian, again, level 60, gear 8. He's a really easy gear 8. That's the only reason why he was already that high to begin with. As you can see, there's a lot of gear that I've been holding off that's even relatively easy. So it had to have been pretty dang easy and worth it to get him there. So this isn't even minimum requirements. You can probably get away with a gear 9 90L, particularly if you actually like have ability to up your Sharp a little more and your Illyria a little more, maybe even your Kelrian's passive and stuff. I would say on average you're probably looking at gear 8/9 for a team that could clear it, and it recommends gear 7. So yeah, you could definitely do it lower than that. You shouldn't have a problem if you've been working on elves at all. This seems fairly easier than it was for the orcs. Who knows how much of that is level? You do get a decent amount of stats from leveling, assuming that you have. Yeah, I mean, in order to use them, they have to have 5+ stars anyway. So once you get to that many stars, you're getting a decent amount of stats per level. All right, so I'm going to go into a little more in-depth review of Ember. Frankly, whenever they released that it was Ember, I had been saying on our guild Discord, I really hope it's Ember so I don't feel pressured to go after, to chase this character and panic farm. Even though panic farm, like over 3 weeks. That's not even panic farm. These devs have been really nice. All right, maybe just very decent. We're all just used to the abuse from other games. They've been very not abusive at a minimum. So Ember, to me, like, if you look, right, she is, her stats make sense, which not all characters have that. She is a DPS with a little bit of, supporty kind of feel, but essentially she's a DPS. And she has one of the top 5 speeds in the game. Basically, if you include Puncherface's passive maxed, she's the 5th fastest character in the game. Her health and shield is nothing but she's a DPS, right? She doesn't do physical damage. She does magic damage. She has one of the higher magic damages, but she's behind other really meta characters like Freezard, Nightiel, right? So she's a little faster than them, Freezard and Nightiel, but she does less damage. Her utility isn't as good, right? And that's really what it comes down to for Ember with me. Her main move that makes her interesting to me. So let's go over her abilities real quick. Her main ability that interested me was this, because I'm more PvE focused. While I do well in arena, like I'm usually top 5 in arena, but I enjoy PvE content more. I find it more interesting to kind of like problem solve and find my way around the mechanics, because usually in arena you're fighting fairly similar teams every time, so it's just kind of same old. So PvE application stuns are great, but you can't use that against bosses. Extra damage on basic is good, that's certainly good, but we already have a really good hard orc team, like a team to fight the hard orc boss, not utilizing hard orc. You wouldn't want to use hard orc against hard orc, ironically, or maybe not ironically, I don't know, but whatever way it is. But we already have a really good team for that. We have Freezard on it, we have Nightiel on it. Both of them I feel are superior to her overall because of the utility they present. So while her basic, is going to do more damage if hard orc is burned, her AoE, not only does it does a little more damage than Freezard's AoEs. Both of Freezard's, which one hurts 3 and one hurts everyone, but there's only 3 enemies in a raid at a time in a raid. And so they're essentially all AoEs. So her does a little higher, but he also does more magic damage. So just call it a wipe. They do like the same damage. And then you have the toss-up between 70% chance of inflicting burning, which is going to do tiny ticks on the boss. That's not nothing. When we were doing our theory crafting stuff, we did try a debuff oriented team around poison, because that goes through shields and everything, and not that matters for bosses, but if you're applying AoEs, it can help clear ads. But anyway, we were trying to use a poison team. We have some people who use burning teams. The ticks aren't that much, so burning's certainly never bad, but it's also not incredible compared to something like slow, turn reduction, armor decrease. Would you rather have him take a fraction of his health every turn, or would you rather drop his armor by 50%? That's not a hard one. That's not a hard one on which one is better. 30% chance to remove all buffs from enemies. That is potentially great. I mean, you can really neuter hard orcs. You get the hard orc boss, right, in the Eurochar raid. You can really neuter his damage. If he's just done that buff, right, where he calls everyone back, I mean, you can take away all of those buffs that help him crank out a ton of damage right after that. 30% of the time. So even though it is PvE, you can restart it. It's a raid. You can just restart your run. Man, if you're even trying for 2 of those in a raid, that's only going to happen so often. And the amount of restarts you have to take to get it reliably, I mean, gosh, you can do it if you want to, but I can't be. Since we're already finding ways to clear it, I can't find a way. Getting a little bit of self-regen's fine. Doesn't hurt, but lots of the best healers have a really good AoE that'll top off or get close to topping off even a almost completely damaged tank. So if it can do that, it's probably going to help out a DPS all the way too. So Her kit isn't bad. I think she has more value in PvP. There are definitely, like, because right now you essentially have to run Soleus, you essentially have to run Nightiel. You can kind of play around a little bit with the other characters you use, but I see a lot of people using Freezard, a lot of people using Tromgar, although I am seeing some of those little baddies starting to pop up as some of the beta people are getting her to 7 stars. And then it's kind of like that 5th slot where you see Eric Shieldbreaker sometimes, you see a lot of Kyras, you see some Wonderlulas. You could throw her in that slot. I wouldn't leave her on defense. I think she's reasonably good for offense because you can time out that damn. But here's really the crippling thing about this move. Almost as crippling as it being 30 versus something like 50 or something like that, which you can't make it that good because, gosh, if every other, 50% of the time she's gonna get rid of all, that's pretty OP. I think it should be 30%. I think that's an appropriate percentage for that effect. She's not even gonna have it to her 3rd turn. Like, there are so many fights where myself or the enemy, right, has 2 or few characters, and the other person still has 4 or 5. Most matches don't come down that close. And if that's kind of when it's going to come up, I mean, there's a chance it could be like a swing move where, like, hey, it was going this way, now it's going that way. But even then, she might be the only person left. It's like, yeah, you cleared all the buffs and maybe killed like 1 person, but there's still 3 of them left in your DPS and you're dead in 2 hits or whatever. So she's not bad. I just don't really see a place for her right now. If she somehow did physical damage, which she wouldn't, she's doing damage with freaking fireballs and she's a mage class. But removing all the buffs against Soleus is fine, except for the fact that she's only going to be doing 30% of her damage because it's getting 70% of it's going to be mitigated even if he doesn't have the armor increase buff. So there just really wasn't an optimal place for her. If we didn't have a really good hard work boss team, I would say she was a little more worth kind of going all for it. Now, if you're there, like, sure, get her. She's good. The main things that I think she's valuable for are doing panda stuff and doing gladiator stuff. Because gladiators are, we have some pretty good gladiators, but gladiators are also hugely important. Like, they have the scroll events, they have the damage rune events. I mean, gladiators are pretty crucial. So let's go ahead and just show real quick, right? Gladiators, doink, 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 all the way down. We got Dizarog. I haven't done a video on him. Go watch Dragon Law Gaming's video. He has some potential kind of uses. Nah. Is kind of where I'm at right now. Potentially once we get General Murdoch and there's just some crazy stuff running around, maybe he's your taunt cleanser because that makes more sense there. That's all speculative. Obviously, Revel's like a grade A gladiator. Eric Shieldbreaker really is too, but it is harder to invest in him early on because if you're not at least gear 7, there's no protection to gain the bonus effect from, and you really do have to max out his passive for everyone, because until then, it's only going to apply for 1 turn. So basically, circumstantially, if they come right after him, it's like gone right away. So he has to be like your slowest person, and like your people have to be slower than the enemy's people. Like essentially, your whole team has to be slower, and he has to be the slowest of your team until you get this. So he requires a lot of investment, is what I'm saying, and so it's kind of harder early on. So if I were to run like an ideal gladiator team for some of these events, I think it would be, just because we have no other tank, and you have to have a tank, even though he's a butt to gear, he's an absolute butt to gear, it would probably be Mega Wheel, Mortha, Revel, Eric, and Ember. I like my Master Duo, don't get me wrong, but and one of the great things I like about him is that his basic applies speed down, which we only have 2 characters that can do that right now, even though we do have some people in our guild that can unlock Shadar right now. I don't think any of them have done it. I don't think anyone else has gotten enough shards to be able to do that yet in other guilds. So on a kind of the first non-GNL guild just cleared. So no one has Shadar yet, who can basically, demons can apply slow according to his leadership. But Master Duo, the thing is, it's great against Mega Wheel, right? It's great against any of the bosses, really. Speed down, reducing that turn meter is great. But what if now you're forced to do it against the enemy's tank, like in the arena or something? I have been able to stall out his slow. One of the things I do in the tournament right now, and I'll just do a quick match just to show you how I've been handling it. I've only lost, if this is the same guy who's kind of been hovering near the top, I've been able to consistently kind of clear it. Yeah. This is just like a secret tip. If you want more Ember stuff, basically I've said Ember, good for Panda things. She's going to be able to clear... she's going to help you clear the Panda room because Pandas need some help with their DPS. Gladiators, I think she's kind of like that fifth person who's like the best Gladiator to throw out there. Mega Wilkes is the only tank right now. Mortha, Revel, Eric, Ember. I think that's your top 5 Gladiators that if you're not clearing it already and you're able to unlock Ember, even at 5 stars, she should be able to help you do that better than anyone else. Mar is a fine replacement. He's currently the 5th, in my opinion. Is this going to happen? Or is this going to freeze and be really awkward? Might be awkward. Might have just lost a ticket. Anyway, my point is, I've been able to use his self buff. I'm talking about Master Duo now. I've been able to use his self buff and his team buff. Okay, we are going to get to go here. So again, you've gotten your Ember stuff. This is, I guess, like a unplanned sneaky tidbit for your last, 16 hours-ish of doing the Wonder Lula tournament. Because I know a lot of people are using Master Duo right now because he's required for this tournament. So if you qualified, you're using Master Duo. One of the things I actually told my guildies is, hey, do not max his basic if you haven't already for the raid. If you have for the raid, good, like, because you will need it for the raid, but I think waiting a couple days might be worth it because this, as you can see, these setups, there's not too many setups we can go with. You gotta have 3 Gladiators, and Master Duo is one of them, so you essentially have 1 free person. If you somehow had Mega Wheel geared up and abilitied up, I think he probably would give you the best team just because you would then be able to choose like a meta character there. But most people are going to be forced to choose their tank as that 5th slot. A lot of people are going to choose Tromgar. So what does Tromgar do, right? Tromgar freaking retaliates with his counterattack. He stuns people. It's really obnoxious and irritating. And guess what happens if you slow him? He's going to do that for longer. And guess what happens if you reduce his turn meter? He's going to do it for even longer, and it's irritating. So, in Gladiator events, if you get stuck in that position where he doesn't have any buffs or whatever, and then he applies like slow, and he applies a turn meter reduction, and you're just like, I don't want this on the tank. I want the tank's taunt to burn off. So, this is the guy I've been consistently going after. My Revel has first 4 abilities max, Tromgar first 2, and the other 2 are 4 as leaderships 2. So getting that slow over there is great. My Master Duo is a little faster than his Tromgar, not by much. I didn't change or anything to optimize that. I come in with this AoE and it almost kills Mar every single time, but I just don't have enough damage to really do that. So here's what I mean. So right here, right, I could hit him with that melee, or with that basic. It would slow him and reduce turn meter if it slowed. So we're not going to do it. Even though it says it's supposed to slow if it's already on, how it's calculated right now is if he puts it on. So, and again, I use the AoE buff, which, yeah, it's some nice regen and armor, yada yada. Don't stun. Attaboy. Pretty much the only way this can go wrong starts with Revel being stunned there. If he doesn't get stunned there, there's pretty much no way for this to go wrong enough for me to lose. Let's go ahead and drop that down. Let's go and beat him up. Let's go ahead and nuke him out. And from here, it's going to be cake. But if I had slowed him down, that window might not have been open. I don't know because I've never done it and I have no desire to ever do it. And thankfully, because of Tromgar's lead, he does even resist a couple times whenever he does have a chance to apply the speed down. So it's not necessarily going to be a game changer all the time, but little tip as you're going through and fighting Tromgar in arena, go ahead and use those buffs to kind of get around applying any slow or turn meter reduction for those of you who have maxed out his basic. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this after. But thanks for joining in, and I hope you got a lot out of the video. Stay classy.